Hello. Today is Sunday, but I think there was a good reason for me to go online, so to speak, and record this video because we certainly have to talk about it, and it is very, very important, to put it mildly. I will kind of hark back to the past and go back more than 7 years ago at the very inception of the West constructed and designed crisis in Ukraine. And in my blog, which I started in 2014, precisely because when I recognized that there will be a bloodshed and basically it's all going to end up bad in the long run for Ukraine and the West, I wrote this, and I will read it for you, so to speak. You can easily find it in my blog, and this is what I wrote, and here I quote myself. Expecting from Ivy League humanities quote-unquote educated types understanding the combined arms operations and why today there are full-blown tank battles happening around Donetsk, as well as understanding the consequences of their decisions, is akin to expecting a local high school janitor practice brain surgery in spare time. But there are consequences, and there are battles, and for the first time in history, Russian and Russophone civilians are being killed as a direct result of the US and its European clients, but that's really the news, policies and support for their criminal proxies in Kiev. I continued, and again, mind you, it's 2014, early 2015, and that's what I wrote. The consequences of yet another defeat of Ukrainian forces, VSU, in Donbass can have a serious political fallout for Kiev junta and its US and European curators. In fact, some gangsters in Kiev may not even live to see themselves in front of a jury for their war crimes. But the moment of truth is coming. Somebody has to answer for atrocity being committed against the people of Novorossiya. They will answer. And here is the reason why I quoted this for you today, because I wrote a large piece basically in my blog about this. And let's go back a little bit to the main issue of what you see, this primarily virtual crisis. Well, virtual not for people of Novorossiya, as people for LDNR republics. They've been shelled and killed by the criminals from Kiev junta and their criminal gang known as the Armed Forces of Ukraine. But it's about the whole situation. And this is about New World Order. No, this is not about New World Order, which is basically everybody knows as the something which was designed or constructed in the feeble minds of the World Economic Forum's kids who never really worked serious day in their life, and the maximum difficulties in their life they ever experienced, as Philippe Giraldi, the CIA officer, used to say, is to basically the main danger for their life is to not to or to choke on the foie gras in one of their upscale restaurants. That's pretty much the level of their life skills, and majority of those people, they don't even understand what real difficulty and hardship is in life. Yes, no, this is not about their New World Order. We are talking about the New World Order which Russia is spearheading right now, together with China. And this New World Order is quite different from the New World Order which the globalists constructed around us in the duration for the last few decades, thinking that they won Cold War, which they didn't, and thinking that they are it. You know, that's the it thing about them. They think they're so great and smart. They are not. They are badly educated, very inexperienced people. And they are really good only at milking the system or mechanics of the system, which basically based around self-promotion and making money on anything. If it's, you know, just grinding kids into the, ground meat, like in Pink Floyd's video, sure, they will do it. They don't have consciousness. They don't, most of them, not all, but most of them, they don't have their basically basic morals and understanding right from wrong. No, and that's New World Order is coming to an end. That is why United States is so desperate to unleash some kind of war and get Russia involved. But as I already quoted for you while introducing you to this video, I was talking about responsibility of not just the basically criminals from VSU, the terrorist bands and groups, and of course the people who help them. No, the responsibility goes a little bit further, and that is the thing which evidently attracted attention of the Western elites when Vladimir Putin and Russian Foreign Ministry started to officially use the term genocide. First, it was this clown from Germany, Olaf Scholz, who said that it was risible and, really laughable, ridiculous, claims. Well, here's the issue. Don't forget Kosovo. Don't forget the gang rape of Serbia. And that was done on pretenses of the genocide, which, by the way, never have been confirmed. In fact, these were Serbs who were slaughtered in industrial amounts and quantities. Not to say that Serbs are absolutely absolved of anything, but the point is, if there was a genocide or if there was ethnic cleansing, that was the ethnic cleansing against Serbs, who were also bombed into utter submission by NATO. And that was aggression. It is all well documented, and the atrocities which do come under the auspices of the war crimes, and some of them are borderline genocide, they are documented well. And of course, Russia documented extremely well what the combined West did in Syria. Then we, of course, have news from Afghanistan, and of course, Russia has her own claims on what West, through its proxies, like in Ukraine, unleashed. And suddenly Vladimir Putin talks about genocide. And we know who Vladimir Putin is. No, he's not just former FSB director. He's a superb lawyer, as a matter of fact. And the guy loves to do things totally in accordance to the international law. And of course, there is a department of the United Nations which deals precisely with the genocide and things related to that, and war crimes. And guess what? Russians are really good at documenting war crimes and basically pushing for the establishment of the institution which judge people who perpetrate them and who basically are behind them. Do you want the recognition of this fact? Look up 1943 Tehran Conference. Stalin already knew that Soviet Union will destroy Germany, and Russians, or Soviets if you wish, they raised the issue of the International War Crimes Tribunal, which later became already known as the Nuremberg trials. Well, Stalin was, you can call Stalin whatever you want, tyrant, whatever, but he certainly was not stupid. And the guy was thinking years and if not decades ahead. He knew that he needed to seal the situation with the seal of the whole idea of the German National Socialism and fascism, and in order to do it and discredit it ideologically, it was the idea to expose for its crimes. And remind you, it was 1943. Russians didn't get to the Auschwitz, which is the favorite topic, in the Western media, who are primarily concentrate on Holocaust. Not to say that Holocaust wasn't real, it was. But of course, they always forget about those 27 million Russians, among which 19 million were actually those Russians, Ukrainian, and even, some Tatars, some whatever you call, civilians who have been slaughtered and who have been basically driven to the edge of a hunger, all because of the grand ideas by Mr. Hitler and the German National Socialism. And Stalin knew it, and that's when we really started to see what was going on in Nuremberg trials. And believe me, Holocaust wasn't in the center of it. It was much wider than that. Well, Poles now, they lost 6 million people, so they've been slaughtered on the industrial scale by Germans. So you kind of understand the Polish, paranoia and all that, but this is not the center of our discussion. It's not that the Poles are absolutely absolved of anything, far from it. But point is, when Vladimir Putin and Lavrov's organization, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, talk about this officially now, and Maria Zakharova already responded to Scholz, telling him that actually the set of the documents of the atrocities committed by Ukrainian army and whatever the Nazi battalions are attached to it, and all those wonderful mercenaries from Poland, from Sweden, from the United States, and we're now beginning to find their mass graves in the areas where they used to be. So guys, this is serious, and result immediately. It achieved immediately the desired result, a desired outcome, because people started to worry. Why would, say, somebody starts to worry in, let's say, the United States? Well, let me explain. But I will start with the article by yet another, the humanities, quote-unquote, international relations, which is in the Western international relations degree, is basically degree nothing. It's dumbing down people. And the journalist, he has degree in English. New York Times guy, I mean, his name is, what's his name? His name is Max Fisher. He is London-based, but he is New York Times reporter, and he is so proud that he reported from 5 continents. Really, I don't know. I mean, what's so amazing about it? But he writes the article in New York Times today, which calls Putin baseless claims of genocide hint at modern war. Oopsie. Well, of course, after that, if you read this crap, basically written by New York Times propagandist, and by the way, New York Times itself is a very interesting organization, which is behind a lot of things, including deaths of many people around the world. And we have to remember that, of course, we have the issue of the 2003 Iraq War. Of course, we have the 1999 gang rape of Serbia, Yugoslavia. Now we have Russia, we have Chechnya. Oh, there were many mercenaries, and there were many special services from the West and from the Arab countries which were involved directly there. And of course, there were many terrorist acts in Russia, some of which they were uploaded in the Western media. And here's the deal. You say, oh, New World Order, how it relates? Well, it relates very simple to all this. We know that the West is really going down. It's been the recurring motif, the story, so to speak, for a number of years. Now we can see it, and it's really serious. I mean, look at the United States, which is basically the pivot around which the whole world, Western world, so to speak, rotates or evolves. But truth is, go to the gas station, go to any grocery store in the United States. Look at what is happening in Canada. Look what is happening in political life in the United States. And look at the military defeats, humiliating military defeats in the United States. And then we have other news, which, for example, show that, oh, United States now buys oil. It doesn't export it anymore because it's difficult. So economically, it's not good. It doesn't look good. And there is no fix to that. Many people in the United States understand it or feel it. That is why they need the war. They need Russia get into the Ukraine. And then suddenly, the United States can finally rank and file those poodles in Europe. And as we already spoke about, launch on them to prolong its own agony. But inevitably, the way the West is developing and the vector is pronounced, it is going to lose, it continues to, losing now this political, economic, not to speak about of military cohesion. Even if the United States gets its wish granted and Russians go in and just destroy the freaking ugly state of Ukraine and break it apart or what have you. The problem is that many people will go through in the combined West, and actually it's already going through to some variation, some version. I wouldn't say it's direct, it's paralleled, but there is certainly a rhyme to this. It's the version of Russians went through in 1990s, when the country was essentially ungovernable and when the country was basically selling itself out as the prostitute. It's Russians never forgot this humiliation, especially by the regime of the pro-Western crooks headed by the alcoholic Boris Yeltsin. I think we can expect similar things in terms of magnitude and in terms of the loss of the subjectivity as such very soon in the all around the what we know today the Western world, because you cannot, as I already on record, you cannot break, rather you cannot fix the engine which completely broke. You just have to throw it away and come up with something new. And of course the current elites, they cannot come up with something new. The only thing they can do is to continue to push their basically homicidal and suicidal, that's important, agenda, economically, politically, ideologically, culturally, what have you. And the end result will be easily predictable. Read my last book called Disintegration. And once disintegration, even if the United States, for example, preserves itself as the unified country, or Europe somehow extricates itself from the iron fist of the United States, it doesn't matter. The engine, so to speak, the mechanism is set, and the collapse is inevitable. And that is precisely the time when there will be asked questions about such people, if she lives, for example, like Madeleine Albright. The lady is a full-blown, 100%, certified war criminal. If Goebbels knew that he should blow his, he asked the guard to kill him and his wife after killing their own children, they knew what's coming. Goebbels never killed anybody personally. He screwed many German actresses, and things of this nature, and wrote books, but he knew he was a main ideologue, one of the main ideologues of National Socialism. Same applies for half, at least, journalist corps of the United States and West. They are either direct CIA assets or they are people who are genocidal. Look at them. They're not normal people. They call for bombing and killing non-stop. They approve any kind of military adventure. They rejoice when they see that so many Syrians have been killed. They rejoice when they see their, for example, Russian kids being killed. That's what they are. And that thing was very well documented. And once the genocide begins to be pronounced by such country as Russia, which is economic and nuclear superpower, that changes the game completely, especially when Russia obviously supported by China. And suddenly, in the face of the upcoming calamity, and we're already entering it, again, as I said, it's not like it's coming like tomorrow. We're already in the middle of it. Look at the United States, it's ungovernable. And Mr. Biden has with all support of US propaganda machine, he is below Mr. Trump in his ratings, and Trump was basically assaulted on all sides, including his so-called quote-unquote conservative movement, which is like pathetic. GOP is basically another wing of the Uniparty. But that speaks volumes. And once you get to that position, once you get to this point, you suddenly have the ability to extricate and make many people face war crime tribunals and face very serious criminal charges, again, because of the inspiring of wars, genocidal actions. And guess what? Remember Syria, remember Libya, and nowadays nobody talks about it, but, well, Syria has been saved with the being a big part of this saving operation, not only Iranians and, of course, Syrian army, but Russia getting into big time. And now these people, they begin to feel that, oh my God, something has been said which wasn't supposed to. Well, it was supposed to be said, because New World Order, which is the order of the basically much more peaceful, much more cooperative, and about making money. Hey, who is against who is against of making wealth? Nothing wrong with making wealth. Let's get rich together, or something like that, So this is the idea behind this new world order. Obviously, China has its ideas, Russia has its ideas, but generally these are pretty benign and good ideas. Like no economic sanctions. Coming down the wars, coming down the conflicts. Yeah, China and Russia, they have the wherewithal to deal with this. United States have been unleashing wars non-stop, which in itself is a war crime. And because once the new world order, the new world order wins, and it's already winning, and United States sees the writings on the walls, there will be many people who should really worry about how they will continue to live. Either they go and basically turn themselves in, or they will be hunted. And there will be many people in their respective countries, depending on the political dynamics of them, be it United States, be it Canada, which is very much stuffed with a lot of Ukrainian nationalists and many people who assisted and cooperated with Nazis, or be it Germany, or be it what have you, that people who applauded genocidal instincts of the basically the globalists, they will have to answer. They will have to bear responsibility, and not just some moral responsibility. You cannot morally argue with people like Samantha Power or Victoria Nuland. Those people are unconscionable. They just basically evil reincarnate in many respects, because they just love to see Russians killed, Chinese killed. They love killing because they never did any. They just spend their time just strategizing, conceptualizing, and basically driving this country, United States, once beautiful and promising country, into the ground. And those people will have to answer. And this is granted the United States doesn't collapse into some kind of the civil war. Then the whole thing, all bets are off. And you will, believe me, you will have a lot of people who will face their war crimes, old ones and the new ones, God forbids, charges. And that's why there is a reaction. There's reaction from Germany, which, by the way, played a very serious role in basically overthrowing, however corrupt but legitimate, regime of Yanukovych in Ukraine in 2014. And that is why Scholz, being a lawyer that he is, he has this knee-jerk reaction, trying to say, oh, it's reasonable. Well, wait until you get the documents, and then we'll talk. And Russian lawyers are in no way inferior than German ones. And Russians know really a thing or two of how to prosecute their war criminals. In fact, they are really good at it. And same goes for the United States. And that is why suddenly this reaction, that is why Scholz reacts like that, then New York Times writes this, because you know what? They feel it. And there are many American journalists who have to be persecuted as war criminals. I'll give you one name, Christiana Manpour, who was one of the main instigators and liars who basically helped to gang rape Yugoslavia. So that's one of them. Many of them are. And suddenly, when the only thing which was separating them from the reality of the outside world was the fact that, oh, United States economic and military superpower, can do whatever we want, we're so exceptional. No, this is not anymore the case. I'm sorry, guys. And the only thing we can pray, me being American citizens, and I love the United States, and I'm suffering tremendously seeing what this country is turning into, we have to pray that we don't goddamn end up with a civil war, and that we don't kill many people here in the United States. This is serious. Those people don't understand that. They have the degrees in the glorified English, and they have degrees in nothing. Because basically all international relations programs and other humanities crap in the United States, including Ivy League, is just bullshit. This is not an education. It's the indoctrination by people who actually have no clue. I can write several PhD theses right now just sitting on some international relations, and they, as I already stated before, I can write them on the same set of data and they will be contradicting each other. So we are talking about people who literally have no life, serious political let alone geopolitical, as statesmanship skills. They don't have any. The only thing they do is and are good at is promoting themselves within a paradigm which is not anymore valid. United States is not this super pooper power. It cannot fight in Europe without being annihilated. It cannot compete economically with China. And we also can see the here, the basically moral disintegration of the society, with people just being abusing drugs, alcohol, what have you. We have the homelessness of the enormous proportion. And in this stage, we have to ask ourselves the question: if the United States is even the first world power? Yeah, the United States still can do some things. There is a lot of genius and very talented American people. But look at the youth. It's horrendous. United States youth doesn't have future. And because of that, and because of the fact that Russia begins to talk about the genocide, which implies, not to speak of explicitly states, basically, the war crimes charges coming pretty soon, well, they worry. And of course they worry, because the old New World Order is gone. It's done for. And what happens with the New World Order? Well, we'll have to see. And for now, as I already stated, hysteria around Donbass, LDNR republics, and desire to commit any kind of the atrocity and crime to make Russia get involved is what they are really trying to do. It's very simple. It's the rat cornered, and it tries to bite because they think that's the only way we can save them. But before I finish my video, I have to give you a puzzle. Russia and Belarus continue today with the coordination military drills in Belarus. Think about it. Just throwing, so to speak, shit at the wall and see what sticks. Well, if Belarusian army begins to clean up the mess, I'm just saying. But it's all, of course, just speculation. For now, we have to wait and see. But this was my basically statement for today, and I wanted to point out to you the importance of Vladimir Putin and Russian Foreign Ministry using terminology of genocide. That means that some huge decisions have been made, and people worried in the West, and they should be. And that's what I needed to say today. And as always, subscribe, and those who can support me on Patreon, please do. It will allow me to continue with the videos and whatever analysis I can provide. So, and just have calm rest of the weekend, and see you later, guys. Bye-bye.